Hi, welcome to the best of Mount Shasta. And as you can see, this is being recorded during the pandemic, so that's why my face is covered. But this is a show to interview those in the Mount Shasta area who call the mountain their home. And generally it's in the fields of native healing, spirit and spirituality, self-discovery, alternative health and wellness, and our environment. And today we're going to go on a journey into the universe and beyond. And we're going to talk about what I do as a teacher here in the Mount Shasta area. And we're going to start talking about a subject that has become well known in our country today, but back in the 1950s and 60s, it wasn't really known about, and that is the discussion of consciousness, the discussion of meditations to experience what consciousness is about. And people are interested in it because it's a way to improve their life. They're interested in meditations. If it's a student, it's to get better job after school, it's to get better grades. If it's an elderly person, it's to improve their health. Over the years, the scientific research on meditation and programs that allow a person to experience consciousness and a deeper rest and be able to reflect upon their lives in a more significant way. The scientific research has just covered every aspect of possibility of what the benefits of meditation are about. And I myself, back in the 60s, went off to India to become a meditation teacher. And when I first started meditation, I couldn't understand what they were talking about. And back in the 60s, we didn't know the language of consciousness. They were using terms like unmanifest, field of infinite possibilities. They were talking about I am that, you are that, all this is that. They were talking about pure awareness, pure consciousness, self-awareness. Those terms were new to me and I didn't understand them. But when I was first meditating, and I would have a lot of thoughts, but I would practice the practice as it was given, and I would find that my body would settle down very quickly, and I'd become relaxed, and my thoughts were a little bit more quiet. But I still didn't understand what they were saying about consciousness. And then one day in meditation, I said, oh, wait a minute. There was something happening in between the thoughts that I was having. And I couldn't explain it except it wasn't a thought. And as I got to know the experience with regular practice, I began to see that it was a field of silence. It was a quietness in my mind where a thought had yet not emerged and gone away. So I began to understand that, oh, that's what they're calling consciousness. That place within me that is very quiet, very peaceful, very silent, no thoughts. So then I began to listen more to what they were saying. That's a field of awareness. Yes, that is my awareness by itself. I can understand that. And they call that consciousness. Okay, my awareness is consciousness. I understand that. And so I began to understand the language of what they were saying. And they were saying that if you practice meditation long enough, that awareness will become more in front instead of in the background. And that experience of silence will grow and develop in your life. So as I continued to do the practice, I went to, as I said, India, and I became a meditation teacher, came back to the United States, and it was in the early days of meditation reaching our country, and it was kind of an explosion all of a sudden. There were all these teachers from other lands that had come to the United States with their traditions, and I was involved with the Vedic tradition out of India. And so there was a lot of interest among especially the student population to start meditation, and then as the students became better people at home, then their parents began meditation, and it grew like that in our country. And so nowadays people know the word meditation. They have a sense of consciousness or awareness, but most people are interested in starting meditation because of the benefits of it. They are interested more in the aspects of it, of how it can improve their lives. But there are some people like myself who are interested to explore the phenomena itself. What is meditation? What is it about? What is consciousness? What is it about? And in the traditions that come from the East, they talk about the development of consciousness. So you would think, well, if I have consciousness and it's there all the time, what's there to be developed? Well, what is there to be developed is to bring it forward and to have it as an experience that is as clear to you as looking at your hand is as clear to you. And so you have the regularity of the practice and you grow in that experience so that when you come out of meditation, that quietness, that awareness that you're experiencing is there in the outer environment as well. So when you're walking down the street, you don't lose yourself, your self-awareness in the midst of all the dynamic liveliness of the outer environment. And so that was of interest to me. And I went on, as a meditation teacher, we were giving weekend residence courses, so I had chances for longer meditation. And then we had teacher advanced courses. One time in Switzerland for 2 years where we were meditating 8 to 10 hours a day. So I really got familiar with that environment called consciousness. And I could begin to see that consciousness wasn't confined the way that our lives are confined. We have our body and it has an environment, it's confined. We have the furniture in the room and they're confined environments. But this experience of consciousness is there at all times, and not only is it there at all times, but as you began to see it, it is unbounded, it is infinite. And so you begin to explore what that's about. And that is the development of consciousness, is to have it as an experience, to be able to isolate what it is, to know it well, and then to know it so that no matter what you're doing, nothing in your outer environment can overshadow that experience of consciousness. So no matter what's happening, no matter how much stress you're going through, no matter how much anxiety, depression, whatever it is, something that alters your life in a whole new direction, all the changes that, especially in our environment today, that we're going through and throughout the world with this pandemic and all the other issues that are going on, people are up and down and on edge and tense, and they get angry and they get anxious, and all kinds of things seem to be come the norm in our environment today around the world and in our own country. And yet those that are meditating, there's a calmness that's there in the midst of all that disturbance that's going on. And so that calmness can alleviate the possibilities of stress, of tension, of anxiety, of depression. Those are the benefits of it all. But it's because there's some physiological change that's happened in the nervous system that can sustain that experience of being in contact with your most inner aspect of yourself, that quietness, that being, that spirit, that soul of who you are. So here we are today, and in this world of the pandemic and life being topsy-turvy for so many people. And what I have done through the years in exploring this is wondering how to make it available to more people. And there's all kinds of people now throughout the world that have become meditation teachers, that are scientists and are starting to relate it to the quantum field and beginning to understand how this awareness, how this beingness of who we are is similar to the beingness of our universe, the awareness of our universe, the concept of our universe, and that the components of our universe are utilized in the human form that we have, through which we experience consciousness. So there's a lot of exploration going on. And I found through the years that with me, what happened was I went to, after I had been a meditation teacher for about 20, 25 years and instructing thousands of people how to meditate, I just did a whole another 360-degree turn and went in another direction, went down to Brazil to study their spiritual traditions. And in their traditions, their culture wasn't studying or exploring consciousness and awareness and meditation the way it was happening in the United States, but they had other traditions that had been alive in their country for about 500 years that had come over from other countries, from Africa in particular, that had other knowledge about the universe. They had people that could look into the universe, and their perception was so sharp that they could see over thousands of different fundamental forces that make up the entire universe. Their perception was that clear. And they could see that those forces had awareness and had intelligence and were aware of them as they were aware of those forces. So this was a whole new direction of knowledge that I was moving in and learning about that was different than the study of consciousness itself. But what I picked up on was that those people that brought that knowledge forward, they had that perception of consciousness and awareness alive within themselves, and it's why they were able to see something that other people couldn't see. So then I began to look at awareness in a different way, more in terms of those that were becoming seers of new knowledge and new understanding. And here was a culture that had existed also as long as the Vedic tradition had, and it had come out of Africa. And yet it was looking at the cosmology of life, if you will, in a different way, and utilizing it to make their communities better and bringing balance and harmony to their people. Because they found a way that if you could interact with those forces out there that make up the entire universe, that are subtler and different types of forces than our scientists have been able to discover through their own technology. And yet here was a group of people for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, if not hundreds of thousands of years, who had this knowledge of this relationship of the universe to their own individual lives. And so I was deeply interested in learning about that. And in that tradition, they also had awareness of the different spiritual realms that exist out in our universe that had not only civilizations, if you were, but had healers within those spiritual realms. And also there were the darker forces, and then there were the lighter forces. There was just a whole, just a lot of spiritual realms out there. And I was interested to explore those also, and to get to know that, and to see what was good and the bad of it, and what was useful knowledge, and just there's a whole lot to know that exists out there and that have been known by people of all traditions throughout our world and throughout time. And they also taught people how to be mediums so that you could establish a relationship with these different beings, and they would work through you to bring their knowledge, which was greater than the knowledge that you yourself have, that they knew that the earth needed, and so you agree to participate in that type of a program. And I've always done unusual things in my life. When I started meditation, it was considered unusual, and here I was going to learn to be a medium, and that was considered even more unusual. And is less understood in our civilization on Earth today, but yet has been here since life has been here. So I became a medium of two cosmic souls. One is called Hiawatha and one is called Vovo Animalia. And both of them are beings that had been on Earth, had gone through the human experience that we are going through and have always been going through, and choose to be still related to humanity, to offer greater knowledge that they can help bring balance and harmony to people's lives. So I think that subject matter is still not as well understood, and also has a lot of aspects to it that you might not want to get involved in, and I saw that too, and you make a choice. Do I want to go this road or do I want to go that road? And so I was most fortunate to become a medium for two highly evolved souls that really have a different type of understanding of the universe and beyond. And when I began to realize that they were not only here just to help people with their everyday lives, but they are here to give a greater understanding of our relationship to our universe and beyond, and our relationship to who we are as a soul throughout eternity. And I was really interested in what they had to say. And so I've kept aligned with them. And about, it was in 2004, I established a nonprofit organization called the Hiawatha Institute. And that is an organization that allows for these beings to speak in their own environment and be able to give forth the knowledge that they have through me to other people that come and want their service or want to hear what they have to say. And I've been doing that now since I mentioned of starting that nonprofit. I was living in Marin County at the time in 2004, and the purpose of the Hiawatha Institute is to research this phenomena, not only of the development of consciousness, but of all these realms of life that exist out there, and where have we been through the eternity of time. When I came up to Mount Shasta, I found that Hiawatha began to start developing a meditation to give to people that had been different than the work I had been doing with him before, which was to help people with their everyday lives. People would come and seek consultation in that way. These meditations, how it started out was there was one woman who wanted to know about I don't even remember the details of it, and that's not what I want to convey so much as she wanted to know about a soul that existed before that has been communicating with people now. And so Hiawatha took her out into the universe to where she resides and made a connection for that person with this soul out in the universe so that she could start to receive her knowledge. So that was where he wasn't just helping people with their everyday life, but was starting to give them a new understanding of how to receive help from out in the universe. Then he began to show people how they themselves could see what he sees. And out of that came another nonprofit called the University of the Universe. So as it exists right now, he has established a meditation that's about 1.5 hours to 2 hours long, where he shows people with their eyes closed. He guides them on a journey, and he starts out by just walking on the earth and walking through the forest and helping people to, I think we have a slide of the forest to put up just at this particular moment. And he shows them how to experience the forest on their level of imagination, on the mental level, with their eyes closed. And then he brings forth the animals, he brings forth the opportunity to talk with the animals, and people start to experience animals. This person will experience these animals, this person may experience the birds, this one may experience the squirrels, the lions, whatever. Each person has a different experience because each person is different with a different reality. But they all can start to experience and start to feel the animals talking with them. So he gets them to understand and to experience the reality of what exists on the earth just with their eyes closed. They don't have to be in that place physically. And how to, when they come to the water, how the water can speak to them. And they can hear that, and they can hear what the water is saying to them, and the blessings that they receive. And throughout the forest, the herbs that come forward, and how the herbs can start to heal them, and they can experience that on the level of their imagination, which is a reality as well. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist. But then he takes them to the edge of the forest and starts to change what the journey is going to be about. And so they leave the forest and start to walk upon the earth and start to feel the sunshine and start to feel the reality of the sunshine, being aware of them just as they are aware of the sunshine itself, and how to experience the sky, and the sky is aware of them just as they're aware of the sky, that this can happen in that way. That is the reality of life if you start to tune into it, start to become aware of it. And then he shows them how to become lighter and lighter so that they lift off the ground and start to float through the sky like a feather. And so in their meditation, they're experiencing that as their personal reality. And then he changes it to a slide. I'd like the slide to come up of the earth. And he shows them how to leave the earth behind, and how the earth says goodbye to them, and how he actually moves through the sky to where it becomes darker, and he's outside the earth looking at the earth. So this is a whole nother reality, because at this point we don't have this physical body, but we still have the ability to operate as we do. The body becomes more transparent, but we still have the arms, we still have the legs, we still have the mind, we still have the heart. We have all the components of our body, but it's not in a physical form. It's a different reality out there. And so he shows them how to experience that, how to have that in their awareness, and how to be in that reality. And then he introduces them to the spirit realms out there. And after that is done, it's like the spirit realm prepares them to go further out in the universe, where they're outside the galaxy. And if we could show that slide, that will give you a sense of what we're talking about. And we're outside the galaxy looking at the galaxy, and it's still a reality. We're not using scientific instruments other than our own human awareness. And the human awareness is far more sophisticated than any scientific technology that exists today. And that's the importance of understanding this new knowledge, that you can do things like that. And it's not imagination, but it becomes a part of your existence that you already always had, separate from being a human upon the earth. So you start to become familiar with those memories, those realities of who you are. And then if we could show the next slide of just the universe, you move away from the galaxy and you're just starting to experience the expansiveness of the universe, the reality of the universe, not through reading about it in a book, not through some scientific telescope that shows you that, but you can start to see it yourself, and you do have those abilities. And so you start to get familiar with that, and then he shows you how to expand your awareness and keep expanding your awareness, because in order to see these things that on the earth you were always looking up and at them, now you're beyond them, so your reality is larger than those things that you're observing. Your reality is larger than the earth, it's larger than the galaxy, and now you are out in the universe and you're starting to experience the unboundedness of the universe. Your own internal experience is awakened to that reality of what is existing out there. And so he keeps showing you how to expand your awareness until finally you're actually outside the universe. And if we could show that next slide that indicates that lightness of, you don't see objects anymore. You just see something that's more basic, more unbounded than any environment that has a boundary to it. So now you're starting to experience in being free from all the environments. You're free from this environment of being a human being sitting in a chair with your eyes closed. You're free from the environment of the earth, from the environment of the galaxy, from the boundaries of the universe itself. And he shows you how to expand your awareness that much and begin to see infinity. Begin to go back to that source where it all manifests from. And so here I go back to when I first learned meditation. I was trying to think of, what are they talking about? The absolute, the unmanifest field of life. There it is. You can experience it with regular meditation, but you're still confined to the sitting on a chair or wherever with your human form. In this situation, it's awareness itself, and you're just experiencing that. So I thought this is pretty profound because I don't see anybody else in the consciousness field today offering this kind of knowledge. It is a new meditation, it's a new understanding of how to perceive ourselves. Right now, the knowledge among the consciousness movement in our country is about, you are the universe. Well, yes, we are the components of the universe. We are all of that, but the universe is a form like we have a form when we are within this human body. So here we have an opportunity to go further back to where we began eons ago in an unbeginning sort of way. I mean, it gets complicated when you start to experience it like that on the level of reality itself, where it's your own personal experience. But then you're experiencing it without all boundaries, and you're experiencing what the universe also experienced when it first came forward and became a universe. And then he shows you how you first came into our universe, and shows you how to remember how you first came into our galaxy, and shows you how to remember how you first came upon the earth, and all the other experiences you've had in between. So that's where I started a University of the Universe. It will take this meditation, and it'll be a postgraduate university, and also an adult education program, so people who haven't gone through the university experience to enter this university in that way will still be able to participate in many of the programs. But it's just me. I'm going to be 76 in a couple of days. I don't have the finances to grow the Hiawatha Institute or to develop this University of the Universe in a structural way, the way it's done here in our country. I need people, I need finances, I need people to start this meditation to see the value of what I'm saying, and especially like the scientists and people who read science fiction and people who are just always wanting to know more. Try this meditation and see what the more is you start to experience. And then I'm going to end this shortly, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of understanding of what's possible with your life at this time upon the earth in the midst of all this liveliness that we're going through, is that you're a soul that's unbounded. You're a soul that is infinite. And rather than dealing with the things in front of you, start to know who you are. Start to know who you are in a big way, not just in terms of consciousness itself, but start to see it where you are broader than the universe, and you have a reality that's going on forever. What are all the details of that? Where have you been? What have you done? This 100 years on Earth is so small. So there's so much to explore. And I'm looking for people who are excited about this concept, who want to try it out for themselves, who want to try this meditation. And I'm also looking for visionary patrons who can help grow this University of the Universe in a proper way so that it's structured in our country and around the world, and people can gain credit from it. They can do all kinds of things with it. People who represent and have studied all the different traditions of the world, every tradition talks about the birth and the death of humanity, and they all have a cosmology to explain life's situation here on the earth. Those people who write and represent those traditions, if they could have this experience of the unboundedness beyond our universe, and then see how it all started to come forward with their people, they would be seeing it not from this way looking up, but they would see it from this way looking around, and oh, there's Earth down there, how to start Earth down there, how to bring our people to Earth down there. And they will grow in a greater understanding of knowledge of their tradition that they could provide to their people. So lots and lots of possibilities. I hope you can see the value of it, and let me know if you want to be involved. It's kind of complicated, Andrée at hiawathainstitute.org, but in the credits at the end, it will be written out, so you'll have that information. Get in touch with me. Let me know how you'd like to participate, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.